I don't feel things. And it's so mind-boggling to me that people can say that what they're doing is how God made them. That was their choice. They chose to do that. It was nothing more than what God chose for them. Or it was nothing more than what they chose for themselves. God has a plan for you that's so much greater. And so there's your plan and there's God's plan, and it's a road. You have two choices. And all throughout those choices that you're making, you have the right choice and the wrong choice. There's always going to be a bridge to get back over to the other road. And when you're on the wrong choice, you see that fork a lot. There's always the fork to go the right way. Because I think that picture is absolutely a perfect illustration. Mm-hmm. And while I babble on, because he doesn't have my notes ready yet, I just like to make a point that also that my notes aren't ready, and I'm really nervous.
You're doing great. Talk about it.
Actually, my original sermon was going to be about other things, but Saturday night I was sitting in my room and God says, well, I've put this on your heart, but this can be for another time because this is what the youth group needs to hear. So what I'm saying is really what God has, from God to, straight out my mouth, because
then preach it, baby.
Saturday night, this was upon me, and that was 4 days ago, and sermons are a lot of work, so, yeah. Hey, look, there's my notes.
Yay!
All right. So, when you are making all the wrong choices, the biggest decision, and probably the best, no, definitely the best, is to get saved. And that's a big choice. It's not just oh, I'm going to go over here and be a Christian today, and tomorrow I'm going to go, sinful things. It says in Psalms 37:4, to delight yourself in the Lord, and He'll give you the desires of your heart. Because if you believe really strongly in the Lord, He'll take whatever sin is in your life, He'll take it away, and He'll just, it'll be gone. There's nothing left to do with it. It'll just disappear. I mean, He just include God in all the choices that you make, and there's nothing that could go wrong. I mean, you're going to be tempted. Trust me, you're going to be tempted. It's going to be hard. Things are going to happen. But you always have to keep that faith that God is always going to be right behind you.
That's right.
And like I believe Morgan said, God doesn't tempt you. He doesn't say, here, do this, here, do this. It's Satan. But Satan only has as much power as you're going to give him.
That's right. Yes.
Because if you don't believe that he has any power, he doesn't.
Amen.
If he really had power, he would walk up to you and say, here, smoke the cigarette. And you would have to do it. You're not his marionette. You make the choice to be.
Woo! That's right.
In Proverbs, it says, he who conceals his sin does not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces it finds mercy. Yes. Renounce. That means give up. Just because God has grace and God has mercy, that doesn't mean you can go sin anywhere. It says to renounce and you will be forgiven.
That's right.
That's the 3 steps. You admit that you're doing something wrong, you renounce it, and you correct it. You find the better way. That's the only way that I can see to do.
Preach it.
And unless you do that, then you're going to be living in hypocrisy. Because Matthew 7:21 says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Meaning saying, oh Lord, I love you, Jesus, you're amazing on Wednesday. Going and lighting up on Thursday, or even right after church. Doesn't matter when you light up, if you do it, it's wrong. You're living in hypocrisy. And when you come to him and say, but Lord, I was the leader of my Sunday school, he's not going to care because you were doing things wrong. Because he knows. He already knows what you're doing, whether you share it with the world or not. And it's really a choice, because as previously stated, Christianity is a lifestyle. Yes. And your choices really do affect others. It's going to be like what Pastor Josh recently told me. I went off with some friends and it had the appearance of a date, even though it wasn't. If someone in the youth would have seen it, they would have said, oh, she's doing it. She's a leader. That's okay for me. And it's not. In 1 Corinthians 8:9, it says, be careful, however, because when you exercise your freedoms, it may become a stumbling block for the weak. Just because I'm strong in my Christianity and I can go off with a boy and I can go to the movies and just sit and watch the movie doesn't mean everybody can.
That's right.
And it's not my strengths that I should be bragging about. It's other people's weaknesses I should be helping them with.
Amen.
And I think that the first way to get on the right road is to use your integrity. Because when you have integrity, you make the right choice even though no one's looking, because you know all the time that God is. He's always watching you. Depicted in my head, it's so funny. I see this mass thing floating in space, that's like blanketing the earth with a million eyeballs. He sees everything. I think that the speaker at camp like corrupted my mind with these crazy images. I don't know.
I believe it. That I do believe.
But I mean, that's just the way I see it. He sees everything, and any choice that you make is just obnoxiously, he sees it. And you know, when you make this choice, and every choice that you make leads up to habits. And when you make choices, they become habits, and habits other people see. Subconsciously, here we go, we put someone on blast for a little funny story. When Tommy talks on the phone, he puts his pinky in his mouth. And every time he gets called on it, every single time he gets called on it, he gets embarrassed. Well, just imagine how embarrassed you're going to be when God says, well, you did that. You go, no, I didn't. And you try and stop doing it. Well, it's going to be too late.
If you're not chewing, what are you doing?
Proverbs 11:3 says, the integrity of the upright will guide them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Meaning, if you're going to go do it in private, it'll one day become public, whether you want it to or not. Because God always has this way of being like, oops, you slipped in the tongue and told this one person, and it's going to come out, and they're going to be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Well, too late. Integrity just, I can't express how important integrity really is. It just keeps you on the right path, going the way you are. Because if the things you practice in private, when you get out into the public, it won't be so hard. Because pretending always catches up with you. Another thing I was just telling Pastor Josh, when you lie, and you build on that lie, and you build on that lie, and you build on that lie, you're always going to get caught because you can never remember the lie.
That is so true, dude. I'm looking at that.
Always happens. I used to be really bad with that. I would lie terrible things. I haven't done homework since like the 3rd grade. And I would tell my teachers all these different kind of excuses for why I didn't do my homework. Well, here's a hint. Teachers talk. Amanda didn't do her homework because of this. No, what? She told me this. And another thing with integrity. Me and my mom went up to the place we shouldn't have been going, and we were going to be late, and we called them and told them our tire was flat. It wasn't. We were sitting in the bank. And so we pick up Tommy, and we're on our way up there, and we have to stop at the construction site because they were guiding us through because there was only one way of traffic. And we start to go, and we hear this flopping sound. It was our tire. It had popped. So we were, again, late, and instead of getting our double bedroom with a very nice shower and all that, we got a single bedroom with a bathtub and a flimsy shower curtain. Yeah. We had the early check-in and we were forced to wait. And on top of that, we didn't even get our free spa passes because the room was not a downgrade. So we didn't even get to go to the spa. Lying always catches up with you, so it's just best not to do it.
That's right.
And I mean, it's not just don't sin, don't sin, don't sin, you're going to hell forever. Well, no, you can make the right choices. It's all the choices you make. You can make the right choices, and you can go. I mean, it's all your choice, what you do. And with that, we will turn it over to Pastor Josh.
Good job, Kat.
Awesome.
Oh, Kat, we got that recorded, by the way.
I don't know how, so I have no idea.